My 35M wife 33F is secretly receiving money from her ex who she was never married to. My wife of 3 years, with whom I have a 4-year-old son with, recently fell victim to a phishing attempt. Basically, she got an email that looked like it was from a department of a bank we used saying there was a strange transaction that she needed to confirm. After she clicked on it, she realized that our iPad was probably hacked. Luckily, while we are both not very tech savvy, my brother is, so he came over and said that he'd try to clear our devices of any malware and tell us what exactly is going on. After my brother had left, I was alone and decided to start clicking on all of our money apps to make sure nothing nefarious was going on with our accounts. Luckily, there did not seem to be anything missing from our bank accounts. However, I saw that there was a Western Union app installed, and it was installed in a pretty discreet corner of the iPad, like in a square with a few other random apps. I always associated Western Union with international transactions, so at the moment I thought that my wife definitely wasn't doing any of that, so maybe this was some machination of a hacker that my brother didn't catch. I clicked on the app and everything was logged out. However, when I tried to type in both of our email addresses, the device keychain recognized my wife's email, and I got even more suspicious. I knew that most of her passwords were the same, so I got it right on the second try and I logged in. I was mind-boggled to see the transaction history that included several $1,000s, all of which happened before this whole hacking debacle. It showed that she was getting $2,000 at the beginning and the middle of the month, all from the same sender. I then went to the App Store and saw that under Cash App it showed that the app had once been downloaded but had probably recently been deleted. I re-downloaded it and logged in and saw very clearly that the person sending money to my wife was her ex-boyfriend, and she had sent back notes saying, "Thank you," and then his nickname. They dated from when she was 24 to when she was 28. He is 49 years old, and they broke up because he got divorced young and did not want to marry again, and she realized he wasn't changing his mind. They never had any kids or properties together, nor was he cheating on somebody with her, keeping their relationship a secret, so it is honestly beyond me why he would need to have any more contact with her, especially now that he lives in Europe half of the time. I confronted my wife on this and I told her that I thought that he was out of her life entirely, yet here she was sending messages to him with stars in her eyes, basically massaging his ego. I did not know what was going on. My wife said that she's sorry and she didn't mean to, but they just kept in contact and became friendly exes. She said, "You know his type, he can be very charming when he wants to be, and sometimes he says something funny or is depressed because of his line of business and wants to vent to somebody." She got upset when I told her I didn't accept that answer because no joke is worth that much money, especially when it's being paid consistently every month. She finally admitted that she had told him that the business I was starting was losing money and that I was only bringing home $45,000 a year after paying my employees, and that he told her the industry I was in, wholesale goods, was a tough one and too saturated with competition for me to turn a profit for a couple of years or have any reasonable hope of succeeding. I had started this business 2 years ago after I lost my job, and my wife's graphic design business was also dead in the water. She said she had started venting to him about how we're falling behind on our bills, and he decided to help her out. She even said that he would tell me the same if I asked him. That later turned out to be a lie, and it was soon clear that her ex in no way wanted to contact me in any shape or fashion. This all happened a week ago, and I told her that I would give up my business and try to get another job, starting at the bottom if I had to, for the consistent income. But I did not want her accepting any more money from this guy and trying to pass off part of it as money from her business, which doesn't even have a functioning website anymore, and then her keeping the rest of it Lord knows where. But the more that I am left alone to think, the more that I cannot imagine sleeping in the same bed with my wife anymore. I do not know if I can ever trust her again, because she will not say anything except that she did not sleep with him and that an ex would just give her money just to be his friend. In addition, I am getting the most dread-filled thoughts about the possibility that my son is not mine. That could explain everything very easily, and while I don't make the money her ex makes, we do have the same hair color and eye color. What do I do? My wife keeps pleading with me that she'll stop accepting money and that I needed to trust her again, but I know she will flip out at the thought of a paternity test. I am living in misery. I thought I had a loving marriage to an honest woman. Even though we argued about the fact that she wanted our lifestyle to stay the same while I was building up my business, I thought we were communicating with each other. I also thought that the money she put in our accounts were from her graphic design business finally getting clients, but that was wrong as well. Redditor's reaction story 2 after. Redditor 1. My first thought was secret child support after only reading the "4 yo son married 3 years" in the post title. She either lied to him and said it's his kid, and he doesn't want to be a parent, so he agreed to this arrangement. Or she's lying to you and saying it's your kid. To me, it's the only logical explanation. Redditor follow-up. To add to the 4-year-old son, married 3 years. Op mentions his wife was 28 when her and the ex broke up. Wife is 33, meaning she was 29 and 1 year out of her old relationship when she had the child. Redditor 2, get a paternity test done. She has shown she is untrustworthy. Redditor follow-up. I agree, and he should get it done sooner rather than later. Op should also make up some other reason for the mouth swab, since I feel like 4 is old enough to remember it, if he tells the child what the mouth swab is for, which could really affect the child in the future. I say this from experience, though I was quite a bit older. Redditor 3, her reasons for him sending money are absolute BS. Who in their right mind would do that? So you're thinking this money may be covert child support? Op answer, I think this is the only reasonable expectation. It sure beats platonic virtual friendship and nostalgia. I have already contacted a place that does paternity tests. Story 2, 11-year marriage ending? My spouse and I have been married for 11 years today. I just recently gave birth to our second child. My husband has always stated he's interested in polyamory because his thoughts are he has a lot of love to give. I have always told him he's welcome to do as he sees fit, as long as he understands we are not together. Well, 10 days after giving birth to our child, he approached me to tell me he was still interested in polyamory, given that we hadn't had this conversation in months. It came out of a left field and honestly broke my heart. Well, come the weekend he plans a play date with a coworker for our 5-year-old. He goes on this 6-hour play date and doesn't answer his phone. I let him know that I was feeling insecure and alone. He promised nothing was happening between him and his coworker, that he hardly had a chance to talk with her because they were focused on the kiddos. I trusted him and believed we were working on our relationship. Last night him and my son fell asleep early. As I am on maternity leave, I started cleaning up the house. I came across his phone and was plugging it into charge, when I decided to read his messages. In there he had many conversations with this coworker. He confessed to her that he had feelings for her the same day he stated nothing was happening. He told her we were having issues, which I didn't realize we were having. Even a text message of her texting him, and his response was finally a happy text, given that I had sent pictures of his kiddos, which I would feel are happy texts. I guess I'm just wondering, would y'all consider this cheating? Redditor's reaction. Story 3 after. Redditor 1, holy shit. He asked you that 10 days after giving birth? He should have been thinking about helping you heal and care for your new child, not forming relationships with other women. I'm speechless. I could never get past that. You need support postpartum, not him running around on you. That's so wrong. I'm sorry you've dealt with this, Op. I think you need to speak to a lawyer, because it sounds like he either plans to sleep with coworker, or may have done something with his coworker and is trying to retroactively cover his ass. Redditor follow up, right? How awful is that? I can't say what I would like to do to him for just that. Redditor 2, this is absolutely cheating. You are married. This is not some fling or a short-term relationship. Marriage is agreeing to be with someone for the rest of your life, assuming something terrible doesn't happen. He has feelings for this woman and told her while being married to you with kids. Not only is he jeopardizing your relationship, he's jeopardizing his relationship with his children. And he brought your child into this fiasco. That alone is terrible. I'm sorry that you're going through this. You deserve much better, and you deserve to be with someone that can commit to you without wanting to be with other people, considering that's what the two of you signed up for. Redditor 3, I have a friend whose wife wanted an open marriage. He did not, and made it expressly clear that if she proceeded, he would divorce her. She opened the marriage and he filed for divorce. Redditor follow up, what is with these crazies who just think they can make the open marriage decision without both people agreeing? That's called just breaking up. Story 3, my 25M fiancée 22F is meeting her ex-Fwb for coffee. Last night when my fiancée and I were heading up to bed, I went to go pee quickly, and when I came back my fiancée was pulling a weird face, like she was trying not to laugh. She said I may have done an oops. I asked her what she meant and she said I was just scrolling through Instagram stories and somebody posted a picture of some concert tickets, so I replied to their story saying that I hate that venue. But I didn't check who posted it before I replied, and it turned out it was H. A little context, H is my fiancé's former Fwb and obsession. She was desperate for his attention and really wanted to date him, but he was into someone else, so all he offered her was time, and she figured that was better than nothing. Early on in my relationship with my fiancé, he talked to her and tried to get her to cheat on me. She didn't, telling her that I was probably cheating anyway. I wasn't. She stopped talking to him, and over time he kind of became a running joke in our relationship. My fiancée would laugh and say things like, "I can't believe I was obsessed with him of all people." She seemed pretty embarrassed about it, like she cringes when she thinks about it. So, she told me she accidentally replied to his Instagram story not realizing who he was. I said okay. Then she said that he had responded asking her if she wants to meet up for coffee. I kinda chuckle at that, thinking it's funny he got the wrong end of the stick and thought she was trying to reignite something despite the fact that she's engaged to me and we have a young daughter together. But then my fiancé said, "Unless you would find that too uncomfortable?" And then I clock what she's getting at. I ask her if she's already agreed to go and she says yes, so I ask why. She said it's something to do that will get her out of the house, and she wouldn't mind having at least one friend. I figured that's hard to argue with. She spends all day at home looking after our daughter when I'm at work, and she doesn't really have anyone to speak to in that time, so I get why some social interaction would appeal. So while I am uncomfortable with it, I would feel too bad stopping her because I know how lonely she gets. I tell her I don't mind and she can go if she wants. And that's the end of the conversation, but it keeps bothering me. The more I think about it, the weirder the story seems. She just replied to people's Instagram stories without even knowing who she's messaging? Sounds unlikely. I figure maybe he messaged her first but she didn't want to admit to me that she replied to him? I don't know, but it was bothering me a lot. So I did something I'm not proud of. I checked her phone while she was asleep. It turns out that she really did start the conversation by replying to his story, but after his initial reply she was the one who asked him to go for coffee. Their conversation continues. She talks about how she'll have to bring our daughter if it's a weekday but not if it's a weekend because I could stay home with her at the weekend, although she doesn't mention me at any point, and they arranged to meet on Tuesday. All of this happened not only before she asked if I was okay with it, but while I had been sitting next to her the whole time. I feel super uncomfortable about the whole thing, especially because she lied to me that it was his idea. Plus I don't know what's weirder, taking my daughter with her to meet him, or making me look after her while she does. I honestly do not believe that she would ever cheat on me. Last week she made herself cry by imagining that she accidentally broke something of mine, so I think cheating on me is well beyond her. But it just seems so weird and uncomfortable to me, made worse by the fact that she lied. I just don't know how to talk to her about it without revealing that I read her messages while she was asleep. That can't end well for me. So what do I do? How do I approach this? Redditor's reaction story 4 after. Redditor 1, it wasn't an accident that she messaged him. You block former FWBs that want you to cheat with them. She's still obsessing over him and hoping he wants to get back with her. You are her backup plan. You can't force someone to live by your boundaries. You watch what they do. This would be a deal breaker to me if my partner of 3+ years came to me and not only is still in contact with a former FWB that tried to convince them to cheat on me, but also wants to do coffee with them. The disrespect for our relationship and me is beyond words. Redditor follow up. Yeah, just the simple statement I accidentally messaged him is so brain dead alone. Redditor 2, she lied and manipulated you. This is serious. You know, people who used to have time together are not friends. You need to say no way to this coffee date and be dead serious about it. You don't need to explain yourself other than it's inappropriate because of her history with him, and if she goes behind your back to meet him or continue talking to him, it is a violation of trust. The tone in your voice and look on your face should be enough to let her know that you may be aware of the deceit and her story is BS. If she throws a fit, perhaps offer that you join her coffee date with your daughter, because if we really are all just old friends it shouldn't matter. Do not let her know you checked her phone. If she is trying to deceive you and hook up with him behind your back, it will be harder to detect if she knows you might do this. Redditor follow up, like a scary level of manipulation. Fiancée was pulling a weird face, like she was trying not to laugh. I may have done an oops. She started the whole thing as a joke to lower op skepticism. So when she mentioned lunch it sounded harmless. She wouldn't mind having at least one friend. Then join a mom's group FFS. Don't rekindle your relationship with old FWBs. Those friendships weren't built on shared interests or hobbies. Taking my daughter with her to meet him. I'm not telling you to get a paternity test, but those do seem to be popular around the sub. Last week she made herself cry. Like every good manipulator, she can cry on command. Redditor 3, I've had time to think and I'm very uncomfortable with you rekindling a relationship with your ex-FWB. I know what he meant to you in the past. Even at the beginning of the relationship he tried to get you to cheat. He's not someone I want to have in my life, I don't want to have the stress and worry of what he's trying to do with you. Not only that, I feel very disrespected that you lied to me about the conversation. You invited him for a coffee, not the other way around. And I feel very uncomfortable you taking my daughter to see him. Not only that, I had to find out the truth by doing something I never wanted to do, snoop on your phone. I had a horrible feeling and it was true. I feel like some trust here has been broken and we need to work on that. For me to help with that, I need you go no contact with him. Either tell him it's a bad idea and block him, or let block him. I want you to have friends, but not like this. Best I can do with a sleepy head. Story 4. How do I get out of my relationship? My girlfriend and I have been dating for almost a year now. At the start of the relationship I was happy. She made me so happy. But I've been struggling with my mental health for a while now. And my dad brought it to my attention that it's probably because of her. He told me that whenever I'm not talking with her on the phone with her, we're in a long distance relationship, I seem like a happy and normal kid. But whenever I am on the phone, I seem sad and do nothing else but lay in my bed all day. What he said got me thinking, and she's done some things I haven't realized before. She yells at me for seemingly no reason at all. She gets mad at me for the smallest things, spending time with my friends for example. She only wants me to spend time with her and no one else. Not only that, but she's a hypocrite. She'd spend alone time with guys, go to their houses to smoke. But if I even talk to another girl, she instantly thinks I'm cheating on her and makes me cut off all contact with them. It seems like she also doesn't put as much effort in. I always feel like I'm initiating all the conversations. She says she misses me, but I'm always the one setting times to spend time together. She also puts all of her problems onto me and I have no problem listening to her, but she makes me feel like I have a huge weight on my shoulders at all times. She makes me suicidal sometimes and makes me want to cut myself. Sometimes I do. It's really upsetting. I'm really caring, sympathetic, and all I want to do is help people. But I feel like she takes advantage of that. I want to leave her, but at the same time I still love her and I don't want to hurt her. But I'm really struggling with myself and I have to go to counseling. Any advice is appreciated. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1. It hasn't even been a year and it's long distance. You're self-harming. This is an emergency. End it. It is going to hurt, and if she's as manipulative as you say, yelling at you, being hypocritical about friendships, she will try to make it harder for you. Practice saying that it isn't working out. It's just not working out. You are ending things. Redditor 2. For your mental health, I think you need to end it. She doesn't treat you well and as a result you're either feeling sad or feeling suicidal. She's not good for your health overall. Listen, it's going to suck at first when you break up with her. However, get your support system in place to help you get through. Your support system can be your family and friends. Please look into therapy as well, so they can help you with her through the breakup along with maintaining your mental health. Redditor 3. My ex-husband treated me like crap until I had to leave for my sanity. As soon as I told him, he started treating me like a human again. I didn't know at the time that his girlfriend of 7 years had just separated from her husband and he didn't have the guts to talk to me about it. So, with that said, I would have had a little more respect for him if he'd have come clean before he decided to take the passive-aggressive approach to breaking up and causing me emotional damage that took a very long time to heal. I think a direct and honest approach is the best way. But from the way you describe her, any approach is probably going to be met with an unhealthy mindset. However, the long-distance angle does leave the door open for an precisely worded email and the possibility of ghosting. I know it's not the mature way to handle it, but when dealing with toxic people, you have to protect your mental health at all cost. Good luck.